Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Point of View, and I am Ms. Shirley Polk. Welcome to Point of View. Today we have a great topic: common goal, common enemy, and a common goal, common enemy. When they have a common goal and they have something common, they band together, and voila! Okay, This is on my mind for a reason. Because when people band together against someone that they don't particularly care about, they can accomplish many goals against their enemy. Okay? So, looking at that, I'm going to go here. I have three uh, things I'm going to present today. I have three different blogs that I'm going to present today from three different sites. Dear God, as I sit before you to speak, I pray to you that my soul you will keep. And if I should die before I finish, I pray to you, dear God, in the name of Jesus, that any outstanding sins will be forgiven. Amen. This is November the 14th in the year 2024. November the 14th, the year 2024. And one day someone is going to watch this webcast. You're going to hear what I'm saying. You're going to say, wow, that is exactly what it is. When people have a common enemy and they have a common goal in mind, they will band together, if not but for that one common goal, to accomplish that goal. And we have seen it happen. We have seen it happen. As a matter of fact, we just saw it a few days ago. We just saw it a few days ago. When people have a common enemy, they will band together because they have a common goal that they want to accomplish. They will band together, if not but just for that one time, to accomplish the goal that they have in common. We need to think about these things. We need to think about these things. All right. Now, I have Psychology Today, and Psychology Today is asking the question: do we need a common enemy? And I saw as I was scanning through, uh, I saw where some of the articles are saying it's good to have a common enemy. So I'm going to have Psychology Today. Then I'm going to be in Penn State University. I don't know that I've ever been read one of their articles or studied one of their articles or their research before, but I have that. It's very interesting. Then I have spsp.org news. And I haven't been to this site before, don't remember being here. But I'm going to go ahead and we're going to talk about what a common enemy is. Listen, having a common goal and enemy can enhance the meaning of life and unite people. Enemies provide a sense of control and allow us to attribute bad things to a clear cause that can be understood and contained. And as Condoleezza Rice said, we need a common enemy to unite us. And just remember what I said just a few days ago. We saw an example of that, and we're experiencing that. But let me tell you something. Don't worry. Remember, if you heard and you saw my webcast, it's been about a week or two ago, where I was talking about worrying, and it says that 85% of the things that we worry about don't happen anyway. 85% of the things that we worry about don't happen anyway. So let's strategize and do the things that are good for our well being. That's what we have to do. Thank you so much for being here with me. And I'm going to talk about this because we see this example. Some people might not see it like I'm saying it, but it happens every time. And then it's been on my mind that years from now, we are going to see something about this 2024 presidential election. We're going to see something about it and we won't be able to do anything about it then. But I guarantee something is coming up. It might be past my lifetime. It could be. But I guarantee something is going to come up about this election and people are going to say, oh, wow. Now, let me go on. Do we need a common enemy? Let me see what psychologists today talks about since it's asking a question. Do we need a common enemy? Enemies can fill important needs in our lives. And this was posted December 17, 2018, and by Ekua Hagen. It was reviewed by Ekua Hagen. So we're going on, do we need a common enemy? Here we go. Pay attention. Political polarization in the U.S. Now, this was written in 2018, okay? Political polarization in the U.S. is higher than ever. People are more divided on the issues than ever before, and Democrats and Republicans are increasingly refusing to engage with their political opponents or their ideas. However, it's unclear if political polarization is a problem that we actually want to solve. Our political opponents may be filling important needs in our lives, giving us scapegoats to blame, common enemies to unite over, and a simplified cause behind complex problems. The question is, do we need a common enemy? A recent study found that enemies can give us comfort in the face of uncertainty. Social psychologist Daniel Sullivan and colleagues found that when they presented participants with a passage describing the U.S. government and economic structure as chaotic and disorderly, people were more willing to attribute greater influence to an enemy in their life. In a follow up study, the researchers found that presenting people with information about a powerful enemy like Al Qaeda, Al Qaeda boosted people's perceptions of perceived control. Al Qaeda, that's how we pronounce it here, but I heard the people who actually are of that, what is it, ethnic group, they pronounce it a little different than we do, okay? But I'm not going to get hung up on those things. All right, I'm going to move on. Instead of believing that bad things happen for no reason, enemies give us a sense of control, allowing us to attribute bad things to a clear cause that can be understood, contained, and controlled. Common enemies can also serve to unite people. After 9/11, many Americans reported feeling a heightened sense of unity and patriotism. They felt as if they could ignore divisions across party lines and unite against a common enemy. And common enemies make friendships grow stronger. One study found that people are more likely to bond over a shared dislike rather than a shared fondness of a third party. You hear that? Denigrating an enemy can also boost our self esteem by making us and the groups we identify with seem better in comparison. Social psychologist Roy Baumeister, Baumeister, okay, has warned against succumbing to the myth of pure evil or the belief that evil stems from sadistic enemies enacting cruelty against innocent villains. The reality of what we perceive as evil is often made more complicated than this. For example, actions that our own side views as evil can be perceived by the other side as being motivated by love and empathy, and that is so true. What I see as good and beneficial to me, my enemy can see that as bad and detrimental to it, the enemy. It depends on the view. That is so true. Let me go back and do that again. Actions that our own side views as evil can be perceived by the other side as being motivated by love and empathy. A study found that while both Democrats and Republicans think that their own side is motivated by love for their own party, they believe their political opponents are motivated by hatred for the other party. But the myth of pure evil may be serving important existential functions, staving off feelings of meaninglessness. That's one thing, okay? So, in one study, psychologist Clay Routledge presented participants with a philosophical essay that described human life as meaningless and insignificant. Some participants who read this essay were more likely to attribute cruel acts to the magical evil forces, believing that people are simply born evil or have dark souls. Wow, this is good. In searching for ways to heal our political divide, we need to consider the potential functions this divide might be serving. It may give us a sense of comfort and meaning to be able to draw clear distinctions between friend and enemy, to know whom to blame, and to know what we are fighting for. And that's the thing that I have had about it. If you're representing me, whatever party you and I might be in together, if you're representing me, you fight with all your might for me. I know you want to do some, what is it, powwows, you want to compromise and all of that. But when the other side is fighting with all their might, you fight with all your might to take care of me. I believe that should be. I believe that should be. So intractable political divides are not just going to go away, especially during times of disorder when we find solace in simplifying our complex world and placing blame on an all powerful enemy. Efforts to reduce political polarization should recognize that our divisions may be fulfilling important needs and that we need to find other ways to fill these needs if we truly want to reduce conflict. Okay, that's it on that. And Steve Rathje is a PhD student in psychology at Cambridge University. This was in 2018. And he was studying as a Gates Cambridge scholar. Okay, so that was interesting. That was short and sweet, wasn't it? Short and sweet. Now we go to the Penn State article, and us against the world. How having a common enemy can create team cohesion. How having a common enemy can create team cohesion. So when you are given a scholarship to play a sport in college, you enter your freshman year thinking that you are the most important piece of the puzzle. Your confidence is at an all-time high, and you enter the arena or court for the first time with your chest puffed up and a skip in your step. What happens then when you are shown right away that you're not as good as you thought, that there are grown men who are much more talented than you already on the team, and that you're being relegated to the junior varsity team for your first season? What happens when you think you got it? You're a bag of all of that and a bag of potato chips, and then you go out there and your little feathers just flop. I think all of us have experienced something like that. Maybe not exactly like they're saying here, but we thought a certain thing was a certain way, and then we just got so disappointed. Oh, but look at us now. We're all right. Okay? Now, you are deflated, beaten in the span of a few short weeks. You went from thinking you were going to turn the fates of the program around to being told that you're not even going to be a part of the program to start off your career. My goodness. Oh, yes. People can deflate you in a hot second, can't they? Oh, yes. You're deflated, you're beaten. But don't give up, okay? It's disheartening, discouraging, and it can ruin the. Let me, I got my phone up just a little too big here. Let me get this right. Okay. It's, oh, this is good. You're deflated, beaten, in the span of a few short weeks. You went from thinking you're going to turn the face of the program around to being told that you're not even going to be a part of the program to start off your career. It's disheartening, discouraging, and it can ruin the careers of some athletes. Now, combine 15 of these broken players into one junior varsity team. What kind of chemistry could you possibly hope to create when every player is in such a negative headspace? How could an island of misfit toys ever hope to win a basketball game, or let alone basketball games? According to social psychology, a team of throwaway players can win. That is, if they have social and task cohesion and a common enemy. Social cohesion refers to the level at which the members of the team are united as a group, and this was Sullivan's study in 2017. Task cohesion, on the other hand, refers to how united the team is toward achieving their shared goals. And this was a study done by Smith in 2013. Now, in the above example, the social cohesion should be low because each player that was relegated to the junior varsity team thought that he deserved to be a part of the big show. The task cohesion would be, like any other team, a desire to win games. But if you don't care about the team you're on and only wish to be promoted to the main squad, how much could you possibly care about winning? And you know what? That really makes sense, because sometimes we're so disappointed about something that we didn't get to do till we have no thought about making the best of where we are. And we used to be like that, but as we've grown older and wiser, we now know how to make the best out of a disheartening situation. We know that. But just think about it. Okay, all of these went on there and they thought they were, hey, I'm the big cheese. I'm going to come out here and I'm going to make this team better than what it ever was. And then get out there and they said, oh no, you're not playing the first year on the varsity team. You're going to the junior varsity team. Okay, your feathers are ruffled, your balloon is burst, you're downhearted, downtrodden, you're disappointed. Okay, so now you have a whole team of people just like you. So it says here, what it's saying here, but if you don't care about the team you're on and only wish to be promoted to the main squad, how much could you possibly care about winning? Okay, it turns out that you end up throwing the cast offs together. They can bond together over one thing, being a cast off. How about that? And so the writer said, I should know because it happened to me. I was a highly recruited freshman who came into my first year and was sent down to play on the JV team. He said, I thought my career was over before it had a chance to begin. Not only that, but I had to play on a team with 14 other guys who all thought the same way I did. On the normal team, the social cohesion can be tipped from one end to the other based on the personalities of the players and how well they fit together. This was a study by Grumman in 2017. So when we first got together as a JV team, there was almost no social cohesion because everybody's balloon was burst. They were down trodden, disheartened, and everything. And they all had the same attitude. He said, when we first got together as a JV team, there was almost no social cohesion. We were at each other's throats daily. None of us believed that we belonged there, so we never pulled the boat in the same direction. We were all 15 of us thinking only of ourselves and who we needed to beat to be moved up. How about that? How about that? Common goals, common enemy. So that is until I had an epiphany, the writer said. One day, as we were practicing, I could feel that we were failing as a team. We were fighting amongst each other instead of preparing for the opponents we were about to face. There was a level of anger within the team that was almost at the boiling point. So I had two options. I could sit everyone down and try to talk through our problems and come to a solution as a team, or I could turn the heat up and allow the anger to boil over. I chose to let the anger boil over, but instead of allowing the boil cascade over us and potentially destroy the team, I decided to focus the anger toward a common enemy, our program's head coach. How about that? I was thinking the other team, but he said our program's head coach. Okay. Studies have shown that social cohesion within a team is increased when they are confronted with an outside threat. This phenomenon is called simply the common enemy effect, and Haller and Hoyer did this study in 2019. This is their contribution. One of the most effective ways to drive cohesion within a team is to focus the energies of the individuals onto a common enemy. And Savar in 2019 gave that. Okay, once we all were focused on providing the common enemy, the common enemy wrong, we started to fight together as a team. Our practices became more competitive. We worked with one another to improve, and we started to win games. Having something to focus our anger, our frustration, and our disappointment onto helped us to all row the boat in the same direction. Instead of finding ways to step on one another for a chance to be promoted, we banded together and became a cohesive unit with chemistry unlike anything found at the upper level of the program. My goodness. So being on the JV team became a badge of honor for us, a sign that we were unwanted by the common enemy but found a family in the trenches. Even now, 15 years later, we still meet once a year and remember how special it was to be on that JV team. How about that? Common goals, common enemy. The next time your team is faced with a seemingly unreachable goal, or the next time you're having a hard time bringing your teammates together, try to find that common enemy. It will focus the energy of the individuals onto one central opposing force, which will drive motivation and team cohesion. Savar in 2019. So, with cohesion and motivation, your team can achieve results that you never thought would be possible. How about that? This is nice, isn't it? Common goals, common enemy. So, do we need a common enemy? And we could say no, we could say yes, but the fact remains that we all have a common enemy somewhere. Okay? So if we band together, we could do great things. Now, I'm sure you've heard this. My enemy's enemy is my friend. Common enemies blur lines between groups in conflict. And this is a 2020 release, January 27, 2020, by Felicitas Flade, Flade, on a walk during the 1985 Geneva Summit. Former U.S. President Ronald Reagan asked Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev whether the Soviet Union would help the United States if it were attacked by aliens from outer space. Gorbachev, while puzzled, agreed it would, possibly warming up the Cold War a little. Stories like this about adversaries uniting to defeat a shared enemy have endless appeal. Endless appeal. We relate to these stories because they remind us of familiar subplots in which hatchets are buried and friends reunite, and together they defeat a shared enemy against all odds. In this case, research confirms our intuition. Since Sheriff's groundbreaking research over 60 years ago, many studies have shown that in the face of a common enemy, even entire adversarial groups start to like each other more. My colleagues, this is the writer, my colleagues and I wanted to examine why this happens. And this is spsp.org. spsp.org. Our research showed that uniting against a common enemy changes the way people perceive similarity across racial and gender divides. Specifically, uniting against a common enemy causes profound changes in the degree to which we categorize other people as us or them. These are good articles. These are really good. Common goals, common enemy. To, to study this phenomenon, participants in our experiments saw several speakers' faces or names along with statements they made. The discussions were either about neutral topics like daily life or about a common threat like terrorism or disease. The speakers clearly belonged to one of two categories. In some studies, they were either black or white. In some, they were male or female. And in one study, they were Jewish or Arabic. Then, participants were asked to remember who said each statement. We were interested in the kinds of mistakes people made in identifying who made each statement. For example, if one of the Arabic speakers said something and participants couldn't remember exactly who said it, would they be more likely to guess that it was one of the other Arab speakers or a Jewish speaker? If they thought it was another Arab speaker, that would suggest that they were categorizing speakers on the basis of being Arab versus Jewish. Participants made fewer mistakes based on skin color and gender when the speakers were discussing a common enemy. In other words, when presented with a common enemy, participants were less likely to see people in black or white or as women or men, but maybe just as all human beings. The effect occurred even for Israeli Jewish and Arab participants who were discussing the Israeli Palestinian conflict. Having a common enemy led them to categorize one another less. So, in short, people categorize others less into groups when they are threatened by a common enemy. That is so true. The effect occurred in the absence of many of the conditions that research suggests are needed to break down boundaries between in group versus out groups. Between in groups versus out groups. For example, the speakers did not have to like each other, have a common goal, or even cooperate toward working towards this goal. Moreover, it occurred even when people were not directly threatened by the common enemy. So, what can we conclude from our research? When people share a common enemy, we don't just unite on the surface to face the threat. Sharing a common enemy also changes how people see one another in profound and important ways. Psychology today asks us, do we need a common enemy? And these tell us that if we have a common enemy and if we have a common goal in mind, we can band together to accomplish that goal and defeat that common enemy. It can be done. So, what we need to do is focus more on our goals and see what's common in our goals, and then focus on the enemy that we all have in common, or the thing that's not favorable to us, our group, whichever group that might be. Okay? But when people have common goals and common enemies, they band together to reach the goals and defeat that common enemy. They do that. It brings people together. My enemy's enemy is my friend. Common enemies blur lines between groups in conflict, and that is a fact. I'm not going to continue. I believe I've done what I need to do today. I just want to talk about that because that's on my mind. Common enemy. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And people, we know that to be the truth. We know that to be the truth. We all have opponents, right? And we all have people who have the same goals and aspirations that we do. So if we all band together for a common goal against a common enemy, we can reach our goals and defeat that common enemy. But the problem is that so many people would rather remain enemies to each other rather than band together against a common enemy that's against each of us. So this is a good lesson in itself. I thank you so much for being here with me. You are wonderful. You are awesome. And tomorrow, God willing, the Mother's Board Inc. will be on. And we have great topics and everything. And we talk about sports, talk about politics. But I'm one that when something is over, I don't hammer on that. I don't worry myself about that. What I believe in doing is moving forward, not worrying and making myself sick over something that I have no control over. And remember that study says 85% of the things that we worry about don't happen anyway. Just wasting our energy and time on worrying about things that are not going to happen anyway. Okay, you enjoy your day. Please enjoy your day. And I want to tell you that episode 3 of my drama and mystery, Ain't No Love, is published. It's online now in Spotify. I have episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3 now. And I'm getting close to the end of it. And it is a mystery. I tell you, when I wrote this, I tell you, it even shocked me. And I am the author. It shocked me. So go and listen to those uh, 3 episodes. You can find it on um, Spotify. And on Facebook, you can find the link, okay? I love you so much. Please enjoy the remainder of your day, night, evening, afternoon, whichever one it is. You are awesome, and I love you, and thank you so much for being here with me. Enjoy. Like I said, your the rest of your evening, night, afternoon, morning, whichever it is that you're watching this. And please, if you will, would you share it with your friends and followers?